All right, this is the Well Kept Wallet podcast, and I'm your host, Deacon Hayes. Today with us, we have Scott Donnell, who is the founder of Gravy Stack and the author of Value Creation Kid, which is actually a Wall Street Journal best-selling book right now. So, Scott, how are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome, man. Life is beautiful. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm glad to have you on the show, and I'm excited to teach kids, actually teach parents how to teach kids about money. So, before we do that, tell us a little bit about what is Gravy Stack?
Yeah, man. It's what I was born to do. It's a financial literacy. We're actually solving for financial literacy in a brand new way because you know all the issues with it. And this has been my life now for 15 years. And Gravy Stack is the world's first banking and investing app for kids and teens that plays like a game. So we built the whole thing on gaming rails so that kids are intrinsically motivated to learn this stuff. So, you know, the two ways that kids learn, this has been my life, right? Like all of our companies help kids all over the world. Got about 6 million families we've served now, and financial literacy is one of the biggest holes in the education system. And so we're trying to solve for it once and for all. And kids learn in two ways. They learn by having fun, and they learn through real life experience with repetition, right? How do you do that in a public system? It's very difficult when kids are going to school and just doing a lot of homework. So you have to have the fun side and the real life experience, and then it sinks into their deep long-term memory because it becomes actionable and fun, right? And I actually think that's how all people learn, not just kids. That's how parents learn. Make it fun and make it really practical for the real world, and it'll stick for life. So that's really what Gravy Stack is. And it's a goofy name, obviously, because it can't sound like a bank. It can't sound like work, or, you know, we kind of have cuss words. Allowance is a cuss word. Entrepreneurship is a cuss word. Business is a cuss word. Banking is a cuss word. Kids don't like that stuff. It feels like more homework. So our goal is to make it as fun as possible and mix it with as much of the real life challenges in the games. There's 100 games they play inside this app to become fully financially competent. And a lot of it is just really fun gameplay with against their friends and leaderboards and learning real life, you know, taxes and real estate and saving and investing and earning and sharing, all those kinds of things, so that we can really create what we call it TFP, true financial power for kids. It's one, you know, you can't really learn about money like you do homework, like you read a book. You can't read money. That's why I don't like the word financial literacy. We're more about competency, practical use, like actual lifelong skills for these kids. So that's really what Gravy Stack is.
I love that. There's some things that you said there that really resonated with me. Creating financial confidence. I think adults watching this are probably thinking, I don't have financial confidence, right? So how cool would that be to instill that at such a young age? And so, you know, we've had conversations before where obviously financial literacy is a huge issue in the schools. And so having resources like this is awesome, especially if you can make it fun. You know, that's the other thing that really struck a chord with me is that kids, they don't want to learn about money when it sounds boring, right? Like they'd rather play video games. They'd rather play sports, right? So,
well, it's a much deeper issue than people realize. Everybody rails against the education system, right? My wife was a first grade teacher, you know, teacher of the year kind of rock star. And, you know, we've served over 10,000 schools nationwide for my other company that raises money for schools, Apex. And this teaching kids about money is such a personal issue. Schools really can't teach it. That's the problem, right? We are wasting hundreds of millions of dollars a year trying to teach money as homework. And kids really aren't going to learn it until they make their own money and manage their own money in the real world. That's really how it has to happen. So we can't put the blame on teachers, but they just don't know the skills. First of all, they don't know what to do in what order. They don't know how to teach it. And then banks don't care about kids by and large. They just want a bunch of users on there so they can get their valuations, and they don't care about kids because kids don't have money to deposit, and that's how banks make their money, right? So kids kind of get left out, and all we're left with is a couple of like debit card for kids companies out there, which are doing some good things for sure. But if you give a kid a debit card without training them, it's a weapon. It's just another way for them to blow money. And parents, really, this is in the home is where this stuff needs to be taught. And parents, by and large, don't know what to teach their kids. Even if they do know the information and they're wealthy and successful, they don't even think their kid, they don't know what order to teach it in. They don't know, if their kids are going to even listen half the time, right? So what they're left with is, well, maybe we'll do a lemonade stand. Maybe we'll do the 3-jar, a piggy bank at home. Maybe we'll get them a bank account when they hit puberty at our bank, our local bank, or Chase or whatever. That's what we're left with. And that doesn't teach the kids anything. And that's really the issue. If you really look at it, we surveyed 1,000 parents when we started this whole thing, and we're just going live right now. So we've been testing it for a year. We've had all these families in beating everything up, and now the scores are through the roof. It's awesome. But when we surveyed our parents and kids, when we started this, 1,000 families, the parents, first of all, said, we don't know what to teach them, in what order, even if they'll listen or not. And then the kids said something very interesting. The kids said, we actually don't want to talk about money. Only 5% of kids have that kind of entrepreneurial, let's go make money gene, right? They don't need to be taught. They just go after it. The other 95% of the kids are actually, they don't even want to talk about it because it's the biggest fight in their home. Money conflict is really tough for kids, and you don't realize when it's happening. Parents fight about two things, sex and money, and sex is not fought about in front of your kids. That's a private thing, but money happens every single day. We can't afford that. You know how much that costs? You know how hard I work to get this for you? Money doesn't grow on trees. Hey, Amy, you forgot to pay that bill again? Like, we can't afford this camp. Are you kidding me? Do you guys have any idea, how much blah, blah, blah. So kids actually have this fear around it. And they just basically said in this survey, they're like, yeah, we'd rather just hang out with our friends, play video games or play sports, and avoid the topic until I'm a real adult outside the home. And I've got most of the time, they've got their food, shelter, and clothing covered. And so they don't want to think about how to make and manage money when they're young. So that's the real issue that we're solving for, is creating a system where the parents and the kids are creating a home economy within the app so that the kids learn to make their own money and manage their own money. So parents are literally passing off expenses to the kids by age 8. And they're setting the expectations in the home. They're giving them over 55 ways to make extra money around the house. And then that leads into making money in the neighborhood with relatives, family, and friends, teaching the kids to earn so that they can actually spend and invest and save the money wisely when they've earned it themselves. It's the only way it works. It's the only way to do it. So
yeah, I love that.
There you go.
So so kind of, that's a really good segue to where do people start? Let's just say they're like, okay, I'm at this place. I have an 8-year-old and I want to teach them about money. Where would you say they start? You said that was one thing in the survey was really kind of a question for a lot of people.
Yeah. So obviously we've got the Value Creation Kid book right here, The Healthy Struggles Your Children Need to Succeed. We just hit Wall Street Journal bestseller. It's been awesome. It's getting into tons of schools around the country. I think people are waking up saying, oh yeah, this should be the lens. The first thing to think about as a parent is there is an antidote to entitlement and spoiling your kids. There's an antidote to this laziness or victimhood or this self-doubt and anxiety that's happening all around the world with kids and teenagers. And it's this: if you can get your kid to think about, how can I create value around me today, it will change everything. If you can get them to think, how can I create emotional value, material value, or spiritual value in my life, in my home, with my siblings, with my parents, with my friends, in school, on my sports team, in my community, it flips everything on its head. Those kids that go through healthy struggles to gain capability, then they gain confidence, and then they create value. We call it the value creation cycle in the book. If you can get kids to think that way first, it shapes their entire life. They start building and compounding these capabilities and confidence, and they create value everywhere they go. And I was raised this way. This is my story. I come from 4 generations of mega successful entrepreneurs that did incredible impact in the world that never passed on a penny, because they said, we don't want you to just be handed this stuff. It'll ruin you. We want you to learn this, learn how to fish, learn how to create value. So my first business was at age 8 selling bead gecko keychains, with my third grade classmates making all the keychains, right? I was always finding ways to add value to my friends, to my community, to my class, sports teams. And that's the way that you get to be captain. That's the way that you get a promotion in a job. That's the way that you get the A. That's the way that you can like win friends and influence people. Be of service, be of value to those around you, and have that be the marker rather than follows on TikTok and likes or the cool club or the clicks or what you're wearing or status symbols. That's the difference. How can you create value? And I had this really cool conversation with Sharon Lechter. She's a local here. Sharon Lechter is, Rich Dad, Poor Dad with Robert Kiyosaki. She actually wrote that book. And she's got 14 bestsellers. She's been kind of at the forefront of this financial literacy fight for 3 decades. And she told me, and she kind of passed the baton to me last month, which was really cool. After seeing Gravy Stack and what we're doing, she said, this might be the first big one to really change the narrative of how kids can actually learn about money, this true financial power. And she said one thing that was very powerful to me. She said, all growing up, people ask me all the time, how did I get to be who I am? How did I get here today? She said, I can point it all back to my dad when I was a kid. Every night when her dad would put her to bed, her entire childhood, starting from age 3 until she left the house, he would say this: what value did you add for somebody else today? That is one of the most powerful questions you can start asking your kids. And she said it shaped her entire worldview. Add value, create value for everybody around me. And so instead of saying, how was school today? Or what'd you learn today? Or, some of the more fun ones, what good questions did you ask today? How did you fail today? What did you try to do today? It's this, we start asking this, and it's powerful. What value did you create? Material value, emotional value, and spiritual value. What did you do today to lift others up and create value? That is a powerful question to start asking in the home. And then on top of that, we have the whole home economy. That is probably the most powerful piece of what we teach. It's automated in the app, in the Gravy Stack app for families. It's in the book, but it's about creating a job for everyone in the family to start this home economy system. We're anti-allowance here at Gravy Stack and in the book and our whole community. But we really want kids to learn how to create value in the home. And that's why we set up the home economy with our 3 E's, which I can go into if you want me to, but it's up to you.
Yeah, I'd love you to do that. I'm also anti-allowance as well. So we could talk about that because I think that allowance does create kind of this entitlement type of mentality versus I'd love for you to give your perspective on what it looks like to pay a kid for what they do and what you guys, your system for that.
Yeah, so let's get into it. So there's 3 problems with allowance. First one is if you just pay a kid their age every week, most parents just do that. Oh, you're 8 years old. Here's $8 a week. Go ahead. Now you have some money to figure out how to spend. That's not financial literacy. That's socialism, actually. That doesn't work because you're not actually getting the kid to create value for the earning. The second big problem is the parents and say, well, they do chores and I pay an allowance. Okay, well, you're giving them a salary whether they do the chores or not, right? And half the things the kids are doing, they shouldn't be paid for, right? There's expectations in the home. I'm not paying my kid to make their bed and clean their room and brush their teeth and do their best in school and maybe even take out the trash and do the dishes like that. You shouldn't pay for that. That's their rent, right? That's their responsibility, their job in the home. And then the third problem are the parents that say, well, my kids are the good kids that we never pay them anything. They just do their chores like they're told. Okay, well, now you're paying for everything for your kids, whether you know it or not. You're buying all their stuff, you're covering all their expenses, and they're not actually learning any financial competency whatsoever, right? So we have to find a solution that creates this home economy. And what we created was the 3 E's: expectations, expenses, and extra pay. When you set that up, what you do is you remove bribery and coercion. You remove buying your kids love. You remove these conflicts in the home and kids asking you for money all the time. If you do the 3 E system, your kids will stop asking you for money in about 30 days, forever. The bank of mom and dad is closed once that's set up. That's why we love it so much. And it teaches kids to create value. So the first E, expectations. Here's what we expect you to do in our home, right? It's the teeth brushing in the room and the doing your best in school and 6 or 7 things that you're doing that without money. That's part of your job in the home, right? The second E is expenses. This is where a lot of parents go wrong. A lot of parents pay for the toys, the trinkets, the outings, the birthday presents, everything. You should be passing off to your kids little responsibilities that they're in charge of preparing for and paying for, starting at ages 6 to 8. Okay. Maybe even younger. But start them off, the trinkets, the souvenirs, the technology, the extra sporting equipment. We'll get you the Adidas, but if you want to upgrade to the Air Jordans, you got to come up with the extra $80, right? Social outings with friends, going out to movies or the store. They want to save up for that, car, 50% of your car, 50% of your college fund, whatever it would be, right? And then by the time they get their license, these 12 categories of expenses should be covered by the kids, right? And now mom and dads are saving hundreds and hundreds of dollars a month that they're not just forking over and creating the entitlement. They actually set up a system, which is our third E, extra pay. These are 55 things around the house. And we actually added not just work, like action gigs, we call them. We have brain gigs that kids can actually do educational videos and articles and challenges to earn money as well, because we need to teach kids that you can use your brain to make money, not just your hands and feet, right? So it's 55 things they can do around the house for a couple dollars, $3, $2, $10, whatever you want to pay them, so they can cover those expenses and start to gain the financial competency and confidence we talked about. So sweeping the garage, washing the windows, pumping up tires, everything in the yard, cleaning a bathroom, organizing a closet, making a meal, and the list just goes on and on and on. And parents just choose a la carte. And my favorite part is that can be tough to manage if you just have a whiteboard, but in the app, we made it automated. So these gigs are resetting daily and weekly and monthly or one-offs with a price, and you literally get a printout for your fridge. It's like, boom, here's the home economy set up for Billy. Here's his expectations, here's his expenses, and here's his extra pay. And you just literally click them off once a week in the app for the payday. Usually it's at midnight Saturday night is payday. And so the kids now are building this home economy. Mom and dad set it once, and it's going forever. And they can edit it as they go when new things happen. But that is the easiest. It's almost exactly the same as allowance in terms of effort required, but it removes all of that bribery and coercions and, Jumpstart. I don't know if you know this, but Jumpstart Coalition came out with that study a few years back that linked allowance to a lack of motivation and an aversion to work. That's why we don't like allowance. That's why it raises kids to depend on the bank of mom and dad well into their 20s and 30s and sometimes all the way until their 40s, right? And our goal as parents is to send off kids to be financially competent value creators in the world, like ready to succeed on their own. That's the mark of, I think, a successful parenting run, right? Your kids are off and running and doing a great job, and I'm not trying to cover everything for them the moment they leave. They're self-sufficient, they're productive. That's what we want as parents at the end of the day. And yes, we want them to be kind and loving and caring and have character and faith and all these things. But those basic competencies just get missed. They just get missed. And my favorite part here, I'll say one more thing. A lot of parents say, well, the kids will get a job, right, when they're 16 or 17, which can help start. Well, that's a great start. I would add that right into the gravy stack revenue funnels, so it can be auto split into their save, spend, and share accounts and investing. Make sure that they're managing that money as well, very well. But then a lot of parents say this, Deacon, they go, well, my kids are really working hard in school. My kids are in sports. We pay them an allowance because they're working really hard and doing really well, getting good grades. And, we love that they're in sports. It teaches them a lot of really good character and hard work. Well, yes and no. Like, you want your kids to do those things, but this is why our home gigs economy is perfect for those kids that might not be able to have an outside job yet because they're in sports and in school so much. So the home economy is the way for the kids to learn the financial competency while they're doing sports and while they're doing school and all these extracurriculars. So that's the answer for parents that are trying to figure out what to do.
I love that. So someone's watching and they're saying, or listening, and they're saying, okay, I've been on the allowance system for years.
Yep.
I resonate with what you're saying, Scott. How do I transition from what I've been doing to now this new value creation economy in the house?
Yeah. So what we coach people on is money conversations, right? Everything in the app for the parents is we're literally texting them parent conversations. Here's a great dinner conversation about where your kids are at in the game. Here's 2 questions you can ask them. Here's how you talk about the 3 E's. Here's how you get off allowance. And so what we say for families that are doing allowance is your kids need to learn to create value. So it's a conversation where it's like, hey, Billy, we've been doing allowance for a while. You got some money in here, but this isn't really how the real world works. And in the real world, you have different money that's earned by value that's created. And we want you to become a value creator because that's what's going to make you so much more successful in the world financially and emotionally and spiritually as a friend, as an employee or an entrepreneur. And so we're going to move to this home economy system. And Billy, I got to tell you, when we start launching this with you, you're going to have the opportunity to make 2, 3, 5 times as much money as allowance. And you're going to have this ability to gain independence, which is, I know you talk about all the time. You want more responsibility. You want more freedom. And we now have a system in place where you're going to be starting to prepare for these expenses that mom and dad have been covering. And now you get to be in charge of them. And we want to start passing off this responsibility to you because we trust you. So that's what we're going to be moving towards. No more allowance. You're going to be able to earn way more by doing new things around the house because people's chores are, they do limited chores and then mom and dad have to do it all. The mom and dad have to do all the other projects, all the other things. Nobody has like cleaning a whole garage on their chores list, right? Nobody has the yard work or putting together furniture or washing with the extra stuff that parents really need help with, right? So that's what Billy gets to do from now on. And maybe he was only making $5, $10 a week. Now Billy has the chance to make 50, 40, 30, 100. I don't know. Because now mom and dad are passing off those expenses that they were just covering. And Billy now has this independence. Kids are loving our model way more than allowance. They felt like, this is why kids don't like to get the participation trophy. This is why they don't like the green ribbon. They feel bad getting things that they didn't earn. That's a natural instinct for kids. Everybody wants a little extra money for free. Yeah, a government bailout and handout is great sometimes, but in the long term, that doesn't create the competency. It doesn't create the value creation we need to have for a successful world. So that's why I think this system is outpacing allowance and getting kids the real learning that they need to succeed.
Yeah, I love that. One of the things it reminds me of is we have a sand pit in our backyard, like a playground. And so I told my kids, because they wanted to make money, I'm like, all right, what you can do is fill up these buckets. This bucket right here, if you fill it up with rocks from the sand pit, it's $1. You do this one, it's $2. You do this one, it's $5. And it's interesting. Different kids have different motivation, right? One kid's like, I'm just going to do the dollar bucket. The other kid's like, I want to do the $5 bucket, right? But to see the connection between what they're going to get paid and the value they create, right? I love what you're talking about, especially that 55 list. I don't think I know 55 things in my home that I could pay my kids to do. So
yeah, there are a lot of no-brainer things that people just don't think about every day. If you really sat with, this is why we coach parents all the time. It's like, if you really sat and thought about all the things your kids could help you with and putting a system in place where they want to earn those funds to be able to pay for things that they want to get and save and invest and share, right? Like in Gravy Stack, by the way, we patented an entire money machine. So you don't just have one number in your bank account like everybody else. You have a money machine that shows the animated visual flow, like a video animation of all of your money you make, where it came from. It pops into coins, goes through the money machine, and automatically gets split between your savings and investing, your spending on your debit card, and your sharing to any nonprofit in North America, right? That's powerful. And so the kids learn right away. It's like, if I make $10, I don't get to spend all 10. I can spend 7 or 6 even, because 2 of them are going into save and invest. 1 of them's going into share. And then what I have here is what I can actually spend on the things that I have to cover and pay for, or the things I want, right? Wants and needs. That's a powerful thing for kids. I've got my 4-year-old doing it right now. Sawyer is crushing it. We were 2 days ago on Saturday. He was like, all right, Dad, I need to make $7. Where's my list? And he was out pulling weeds in 100 degrees at like 2 p.m. to earn the money that he wanted to. And then he put it into his 3 jars. And he's prepping for like a laser targeting, like shooting system with his buddy, right? And so now he has his goal. He's learning it. He's splitting up his money, and he's fired up to earn. If I just handed him that money every week, he would be like demanding more from me, and he wouldn't learn any of these skills. He's 4, right? If a 4-year-old can understand this piece, an adult can, and teenagers absolutely can. So that's, we're on the same track, man. Like, kids need to understand the value of the skills, the value of the work, the value of what they're doing. That is a critical skill. I don't know why we don't connect pay to jobs for kids. It's like, what do you want to do? What do you want to do when you grow up? I don't know. I want to do this. I want to do that. Okay. Have you ever thought about how much money you'd make every month doing that, and a budget to live off of? Like, is it important for you to have this job, even though you probably can't ever afford concerts or having a pet or extra clothes or being able to support the charities that we support as a family and care about? Kids need to think holistically about these things, because if they can do that, it actually connects their skills with value in the world, right? That's a critical piece that everybody misses. And we have games in the app that teach kids the value of over 185 of the top jobs in the world. And they do it in a monthly budgeting game in a treehouse job fair, where they're helping little characters in the Gravy Stack game find the perfect job for them and live on the monthly budget. It's pretty cool. So that's the only way kids can learn this stuff. A lot of parents just don't know where to start, and we're just trying to give them a roadmap from 1 to 100. We kind of have this joke. It's like, if you beat our game, your kids could play a lot of games. If you beat our game, your kids will be bulletproof in the world. Like, this is how they are set up for success in the world. And so that's why, parents, we're in the good tech category, right? It's not a video game. It's like puzzles and competitive mini games and then real life challenges. They're going out in the real world and they're canceling subscriptions. They're getting grocery coupons. They're planning their next family trip on a budget. They're doing like eat in versus eat out challenges, like all these practical things. They're learning, what are all the taxes in my state as a game? Every single tax that's there as a fun game. They're learning about real estate. They're learning about online security and safety through games, how to protect myself online, which is a critical piece that a lot of people miss. So if parents had a roadmap to give their kids like this assurance of success outside the home, there's not really a price tag on that. They just don't know about it. And that's what Gravy Stack gives them for like 23 cents a day, basically, is what we charge. So yeah.
That's incredible, man. So that actually leads me to, we had talked earlier, where's the best place if someone's interested, they say, hey, this is what I want to set my family up. Where would they go to find out more information?
Well, Value Creation Kid is a great starting point if you want to read, or the Audible. It's on Amazon, Value Creation Kid. But if you want to get this operationalized in the home, gravystack.com. And I know we have a link for you guys. It's gravystack.com/WKW for Wellcat Wallet. If they want to go there, they'll go straight to the store, and then they'll help promote your mission and what you guys do in the world as well. So gravystack.com/WKW will be the link for folks. And that will just give them the system and the roadmap for their family. So the app is actually free to play the games for the kids. And then the moment you want to get all the home economy and the printouts and the 3 E's and all the 4 bank accounts and actually get the kids all the banking side, it's $7 a month or 23 cents a day. And then there's a parent elite program, which is giving all the parents the resources, the training, the workshops, the dinner conversation starters, and that's like $17 a month. We've charged up to 10 grand for that system, but we just give it to the parents now for 17 a month. And then the last part we like to tell people is our average family in level 1, the savings beach, that's just the first of 10 levels so far in the game. They're saving on average like $600-700 for their family in the subscription hunt and the couponing games alone. So we have a guarantee. We're like, hey, if you don't make $100 in your first month or save $100 with your family, like we will literally give you your money back because you're doing it wrong, right? So we have the guarantee in there to make sure people know, like, hey, this is not an expense. This is an investment. And we only allow families into the app when they see it as an investment, right? And really the money that we get for it just covers the banking fees and getting all this stuff built for people. So yeah, pretty simple, man.
Well, that's awesome. I appreciate you sharing that. Once again, it was gravystack.com/WKW. Scott, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.